Talk to me, Calzaghe, what on earth is going on down in Newbridge?
Well, you know what? Enzo, I feel, has overreacted slightly. He had a loss against Enzo as the trainer. You use it as the royal we. You know, they had a loss when they fought David Haye. Enzo Macronelli got it a bit wrong on the night. Wasn't feeling well. May have been sick all week. May have been advised to pull out before the fight. We don't know. It's a little bit of a rumour, and I tend to believe there's something in that. But that's neither here nor there. In the end, David Haye, 5 minutes 4 seconds, took care of him. Great job. I thought it was a close fight. On the night, it wasn't. So Enzo Calzaghe bounced back from that with an outrageous attack on David Haye last week that was unnecessary, and it lacked grace, it lacked goal, and it wasn't very sporting, and it wasn't very boxing, Matt, and equally not very rugby. You know, when you get smashed to bits, you don't walk off and say, oh, they're rubbish. You've just been beat 56-0. Swallow it. Get on with it. And this is the equivalent. He walked away and said, basically, he's rubbish. He got lucky, which was not very good. And then last weekend, he had Gavin Rees, a small fighter of his, who fought and won a world title last year against the odds. I mean, massively against the odds. And he got beat on Saturday night. Now, whether he got beat out of sight or whether it was a tight fight and he got stopped in the 12th is open to discussion. I think he was losing hands down. And Enzo wasn't criticised, but Enzo has sort of taken, Enzo Calzaghe, the coach, has sort of taken the jump ahead to defend himself when no one's yet criticised him.
Well, he's losing his reputation. It's taken a bit of a knock.
Well, for sure it has. I went to the gym yesterday. There was an open workout day, as they call it, for Joe Calzaghe. The last chance for the media to meet up with him and watch him training before he leaves for Las Vegas for the big fight against Bernard Hopkins coming up. And he leaves on Saturday week. And I have to say the mood in the gym generally was very upbeat until I spoke to Enzo, who is clearly at the moment, shall we say, more than disappointed that he feels the snipers are coming out again. They were there before he trained Macronelli and the likes of Gavin Rees to world titles, because people said that his success has come about only because of Joe. And he feels those comments are beginning to be regurgitated now. And when I spoke to him, I put those comments to him, and as you'll hear now, he let rip.
I see that we haven't lost no champions whatsoever. I still got the champions. I just lost belts. So let's get it straight. So I'm not that hurt because I haven't lost champions. Those champions are still there. Enzo's still a champion. He will be a champion next week, next month. Gavin Rees will win this title as a champion again. So what we lost, that makes important me to state out to the public, is we just lost belts.
But you lost a high-profile fight. In particular, the Gavin Rees fight, yes, was a setback, but the Enzo Macronelli fight was a high-profile fight, 20,000 people, and it was a big setback for you as a trainer as well as for Enzo Macronelli, the fighter.
No, listen, I don't go to try to what's the word? Try to go for my status. I don't have to. Let me tell you some things, right? I did not acclaim myself as the world #1 trainer. The public done that. The Americans done that. So they put me as #1 for what I achieved last year. What I achieved this year has got nothing to do with that. But I know, deep in my heart, Enzo knows deep in his own heart, if that went 12 rounds, our home, and I will say it again, he would destroyed, and you know as a reporter, that deep down, if that was 12 rounds, he would have destroyed 8.
Those defeats do show also how special Joe is, and that he's come through against so many styles in so many different circumstances. Do you think maybe there's an element, Enzo, with Joe in the gym, that the other lads try too much to copy what he does, and that what works for him doesn't necessarily work for them?
Well, okay, let me ask you one thing. First of all, I wish that every one of my fighters copied Joe. And that's completely, I heard that. That was you falling in the trap by Andy Booth. What's his name? I don't know his name anymore. What's his name? Booth?
David Haye's trainer, Adam Booth.
Adam Booth. He's talking a lot of I read that little passage, and that more or less insinuated that people flow more or less like Joe does. Let me tell you, I wish they were. It would be a dream to have 5 Joes. There's not one person who looks like Joe. So you think that they try to emulate him is a load of pure, absolutely rubbish talk. From you and from anybody else, they don't emulate. It's because they lost, they like to stick on the glue on something, right? I haven't got one method only. Before I won a trainer year, right, I was Mr. Nobody. Then I became world trainer year. I'm still, because I lost 2 fights, I'm Mr. Nobody. But my record, I want to put something to you to ask me a question. I want to make it clear, right, one thing, that I want to know who in the world get this straight, in the world has ever had a 28 unbeaten record of continuous world title fights. Now you sort that out and put that on the paper tomorrow. And I want to know, search for it, I want to see if there's ever been beaten at war and anyone in the history of boxing. Has there been a trainer which had 28 world title fights unbeaten run? Let me know if there's one.
Yeah, very impressive record. So are you saying that these two defeats have not affected Joe in any way?
Not one bit. Does he look affected by you?
Certainly doesn't.
Exactly. It's called, with a package comes a loss. It's the meaning how you get out from it and how you come back from it. No, I haven't lost no champions. I lost titles. They come back and win those titles again. So all I want to get the smirky people, which will happen, and I'll ask them, do what I've done, then they can talk. See if it become, yet alone British trainer or coach a year, they say become world trainer a year, then they go right to talk. So stick that up there and stick that very well tight.
And at that point, he walked away and got tangled up with my mic lead, and so that's why the interview ends so abruptly. But that's what Enzo Calzaghe is, and it seems to me that he's retreating into a kind of siege mentality. For years there seems to have been this mentality among Joe and Enzo of the world is against us and we're going to do it our way and we're going to prove that we can do it our way. If you go to the gym you can't believe that a world champion can emerge from somewhere like that, and you hear about some of their habits. But it's worked for them, and it seemed in the last couple of years as though they might be just emerging from that, with Joe appearing on ITV winning Sports Personality of the Year, with Enzo Macronelli and Gavin Rees winning world titles. But I got the sense there the other day that Enzo now feels that once again his level as a trainer is being questioned and he's heading back to where he was 5 years ago.
And the thing is, Matt, he mentioned there, and I mentioned it at the top of the programme, he said there, people are calling me Mr. Nobody. Well, nobody's calling him Mr. Nobody. He has dug himself a trench. He's had two fighters lose, okay? One of them quite spectacularly, and one of them because he probably was meant to lose anyway, in the sense that he was odds on against.
Well, there's a point to make that both the fighters lost in contests in which the man who won was odds on to win.
Odds on favourites. Yeah.
Is that the general atmosphere in the gym?
No, it's
from Enzo's quite blatantly being very strong and opinionated there, but do you think the rest of the gym have got that? Because no one's going to admit that, you know, ahead of the Hopkins fight, Joe hasn't got a chance. Well, I mean, no one's going to say that. They're all going to big it up. But
no, the funny thing is that I was speaking to Gary Lockett, who just today, and we're jumping here, just today announced a fight with Kelly Pavlik officially in New York at a press conference at BB King's this afternoon for June 7. And Gary Lockett was saying to me last week and after the show on Saturday, being in that gym, it's a gym full of winners. It makes you want to act and be like a winner. And I just hope that Enzo's not in there screaming to the fighters who are on his side anyway, screaming to his devotees about all of the wrongs out there, because there aren't the wrongs out there. He's creating the wrongs, man. And that 28 unbeaten sequence, we did a massive piece on this show last November or December. That is a record. No other trainer in history has had 28 successful world title winners in 28 title fights. We've given him his credit. People in boxing generally have given Enzo Macronelli for the last 6 or 7 years nothing but credit. He's had 2 losers and he's decided to come out swinging in case somebody attacks him. Nobody's attacked him.
But people do have a view that what Enzo has got has been delivered to him by his son. They believe that anybody, virtually anybody who's remotely connected with boxing, could have had success with Joe Calzaghe. That's the point that really irks Enzo Calzaghe. And for all he was talking there in fairly, sometimes almost demented terms, Joe Calzaghe yesterday at this open workout day looked as sunny as I've ever seen him. He looks like this is a chance for him to really nail also some of the suspicions about his career. The Americans to this day, until he gets to Las Vegas, have called him and will call him stay-at-home Joe. He knows that this is a chance to cement his legacy. We're all raving about him over here. He knows this is a chance to get global, genuine global recognition.
Let's move